Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. Wrapping up again. Just a really good week of practice. Really competitive, really physical. More guys stepping up, making plays. All those developmental scrimmages on Friday are really paying off. Just more and more guys are getting playing time and working in the rotations, which is necessary at this time of year, especially as you're trying to balance your roster and looking at who's going to redshirt, use those 4 games, and who you're going to hold back on, who you're going to go forward on. So all in all, just a really good week of practice. Questions, please.
Do you have conversations with players that are maybe on the edge there about where their standing is in terms of redshirt, or is that
Always with them and their families? Yes, sir.
How hard is it to kind of juggle that these days with some of the injuries that are popping up, or there may be some decisions that you thought were concrete that's maybe going to be harder to redshirt some guys these days?
Well, I mean, nowadays in college football, I don't know what the percentages are of guys actually fulfilling the entire, 5-year allotted, eligibility time. Not to mention guys that were here last year getting that extra one as well. So that'd be a 6-year. So, and you never know. Football is really unpredictable. I mean, you never know when you can be injured or whatnot. You certainly don't wish that upon anybody. So I've always been a big fan of when you can play, because you just don't know what the next day is going to bring. So our guys have been excellent in terms of being unselfish and playing and understanding roles. And there's not a single role on this team that is not important. Everybody has an important role. I think they understand that. They bought into it. And the guys have done everything they've been asked.
Is there anyone in particular in that developmental scrimmage the last couple of weeks that you've been impressed with? Maybe he's not going to play on Saturday, but he's trending in that direction, or guys that are?
Well, it's been a good amount. I mean, the secondary, Avante and Jalen Davies and Barkins, they really stand out. Those are really good football players. They've been in the rotation. We don't skip a beat while they're in there. So that's been really impressive. Mikel Alfa-Ese is ready to go. He's really looked impressive. Got a great burst, great first step. Plays a good pad level, good hands. Guys like Ope have been just right there on the cusp. Marcus Harper has been great. I mean, has taken the next step, and you can see it. When someone starts playing with twitch, physicality, when they start playing fast, that means that the opposite's happening in their brain. Their game is slowing down for them. All right, they're playing faster. So it's a pretty good list of guys. So we're pretty pleased with the way that's going.
How are Justin Flo and Sean Dollars progressing, and what's their chances they'll be available again this year?
Well, I think Sean is going to be available at some point this year. Could be at the end, could be in the postseason. Justin's going to be more of spring.
Any chance Bennett makes availability as well, or is he full?
There's a chance. Yep. Those are reminders of how significant the type of injuries that we've had, the caliber of player that has been lost, and at the same time the caliber of next man up mindset our team has had to be able to forge forward.
Leduc also.
Leduc is really close. Leduc is already practicing with us, so we think he's maybe a week out. He would be, if you had to listen for this week, he'd be questionable. If you had to listen for next week, you'd say he's a go.
I don't believe we saw Keon against Washington. Just wanted to ask about his availability, how he's doing.
Yeah, he was a little bit banged up last week. We thought we could get to the game and use him, or I would say he could come play for us, not use him. And he's in a much better state this week. He's really played well. He has played through, some nicks and some bumps or whatnot, and has been a great player for us this year. So credit to him and his toughness. He looks like he's back on track. He's ready to go this week.
And just staying in the interior, obviously going against some really experienced guys like Lucas at Washington State. What do you see from guys like Brandon Dorlus and Christian Williams as far as their growth and development this season?
Well, those guys have been excellent. They've been productive. Their off-season training habits, their eating habits, nutrition-wise, film study habits have paid off in a big way, because we've gotten some really good interior line play. We have. And this week is very, very different. I mean, you're talking about massive splits, right? 3 and 4 foot splits, tackle trap, tackle dart, guard trap, inside, outside zone, draw schemes, screens, drop back play action. I mean, there's some challenges with the way that the distribution of course, the passing game, what they do at wide receiver, but also how they use the running backs, how difficult they are to tackle, the space they create. The splits themselves, it's different. That's a very different fit and a very different feel. So those guys have been really good all year, and we're going to need them to be their very best on Saturday.
One of the best opposing tackles you'll go up against, and Lucas and KT and him had a good exchange last year. They got the ball out quick a lot last year to try and avoid KT. What are your thoughts on that just individual matchup that will draw a lot of attention, not just from inside the game, but around the game.
Well, I think, again, they have great players, and not only at tackle, but their interior offensive line is good. Their defensive line is as disruptive as you'll find really in college football. I think they're fifth in the country in forcing turnovers. And everybody on the defense is doing it. They're punching out balls at the linebacker position, at DB, up front. Their movements, their pressures are really, they're challenging, and they're very fast, explosive players, a lot of experience. At linebacker, they have a former quarterback and a guy that's been around for, 5 years plus, who is as good of a tackler and as instinctive as anybody we've played against all year. So we fully recognize that this is a challenge and an opportunity at every level on both offense and defense.
How do you think KT has handled the individual attention that comes with being who he is, Mario? But I'm talking about more in-game, where at UCLA, when there's 3 GMs there and two men who could be deciding a very lucrative future for him, and that it comes each week, and this could be another week like that.
Well, I think he's handled it well. I mean, he's done really well. I think that when you're blessed and with that type of talent, and then you also work with a mindset to match that kind of talent, knowing that every single week you're going to be tested and that your future is going to demand even more of you. You're going to be tested even at higher levels and on bigger stages and whatnot. I think he's handled it really well, and I think he's learning and growing from it.
With this team being so young, like you said a couple times, how have they handled the pressure each week that gets bigger and bigger? The games get bigger and bigger as you get into November. Johnny and Jalen yesterday talked a lot about how you've preached the 1-0 process, and I'm just curious your thoughts on the younger guys, because it can be pretty natural to kind of get caught up in the excitement of what you guys are going through. How have they kind of handled that?
Well, I think we accelerate these youthful years on some guys by the way we practice, our regimen, our structure, and then the way that we present the data, the way we develop guys, and the way we prepare our mind, the way we attack the mindset of what we do. I mean, every single game, and the entire country's been in the playoffs since week 1. That hasn't changed, and there's no reason to change it now. What works for us is that we're able to focus on that thing right here, like right here, right now. Do it right and do it right now. That's the only thing that matters. Anything, all that other noise, man, just can throw you off, can really distract you. So I think our guys have bought into it, and our guys have seen the benefits of doing it the right way, full throttle, and allowing stuff to get in there and disallowing ourselves from playing at our best. So we're improving at it, and we still need tons more improvement at it. So want to know, man.
Does it help the reference, like the 2019 run where the ASU game and just you were in position there? Does that kind of add extra backing to that of, hey, we've gone through this before? And I
think past experience always helps. Not a ton of guys on this team that were on that team, but certainly guys that can relay that message. Guys like Tony Washington that were around back in the Arizona loss, right? And then bouncing back, and not just bouncing back because they were upset, and not just winning or going 1-0 because they were upset, but because they decided to hold themselves accountable at a different level, at a higher level, and not really worrying about anything else and focusing on noise or any of that nonsense. It was just all about doing your job to the best of your ability and making sure the guy next to you does as well. So we're keeping it that simple.
I think we talked Monday about wanting to see your coverage units, maybe clean some things up. How do you feel like you guys have addressed that this week?
I thought we had some improvement the past couple of days, and it's been stressed, it's been coached better. We got to coach it better. And then you have to have a willingness to go down there and throw your body around. I mean, it's November, right? Everything hurts, right? I mean, everything does, and you got to be willing to play with a certain level of physicality on those teams, especially if the ball is not getting kicked in the end zone and getting a touchback. So I think we've achieved a better level, and we're looking for more improvement. So let's go find out on Saturday about our coverage teams.
How much further along are the various parts of the secondary, but particularly corner, where go back to the Ohio State game and it's Jamal and DJ playing their first game of the season, and they were still pretty young guys, and Quez and Dante played the week before, but they were in one of their first game experiences, and now you're going up against a passing offense that is, I'm not going to say stylistically or schematically, but just passes a lot like Ohio State does. Sure. How much further along are those guys in their abilities?
Well, I think the combination of them being comfortable with the scheme, technique-wise improving, getting the experience, the front seven playing better, us getting pressure on the quarterback, I think all those things together collectively have led to more confidence and better play. But we have progressed. We're definitely farther along, especially if you look at the body of work as compared to the body of work over the last 3 to 4 weeks. There's a significant difference. So that's all we're focused on. We're getting better. We just have to get better. That's the bottom line. November, you have to keep getting better. You have to keep working at things, and you just got to cut everything else out. We really have no interest in anything else.
Looking at the safeties, you guys are obviously looking for a timetable for Steve, but wanted to ask about kind of what you saw from Jordan Happel and Jamal and that Washington game, and how much it helps to have an experienced guy like Jordan to turn to.
Jordan is, he'll probably get at me like, he's a stud, man. Jordan is a guy that the amount of pride that guy takes in understanding what everybody is doing allows him to play with such a sense of confidence and instill confidence in everybody else around him. And that's what, he's a great example of how a football player should study and learn the game. He really is. And he's worked really hard physically to put himself in a position where all his entire skill set has improved. So a guy who's, last year when he played was a difference maker. This past week he got in there and was a difference maker, and he's just going to keep making himself and the entire team and the defense better.
Going back to injuries, is there a chance Drew Mathis gets back this year?
I don't know. Something that we were looking into yesterday, and we'll see.
With Jordan sliding over to replace Steve, what's the depth like behind Jamal? With Jordan sliding over to replace Steve, what's the depth behind Jamal look like at nickel, and who are some of the players standing? I think Dante was on the 2 deep for the first time.
We're excited about Dante at nickel now. Dante, we have flexibility there. There's no hesitation or reservation. He's repped it. Scoop has repped it. Brian Addison has repped it. And the way we play field and boundary, there's a lot of overlap, a lot of the things that we do. And then we mentioned the young corners before, who they've seen. Let's just say we're ready. We feel good about it.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Be safe. Have a good day.